I have a feeling that it's just like in American English. Some words make sense, and other words we stole from another language somewhere. And I think that's what the
Right.
Greeks did. They stole from other languages.
I was actually wondering if that's where the curly Q letters come from, because it doesn't look like the rest of the alphabet, but those several curly Qs look quite foreign.
Yes, they do. Yeah. No, I don't know the answer to that question. That would be a fun, uh, you know, Google search. There's people who specialize in alphabets.
Cool.
Yeah, literally, they're just saying, and that way you can show them a parchment or an engraving, and they could look at that and they go, "Oh yeah, that's from 300 BC." And I'm going, "How can you tell that?" Because of that curly Q. That was, So yeah, and Hebrew is especially that way. If you want to, Hebrew, the Semitic alphabet has changed over centuries, and how a letter leans or how it's drawn. People say, okay, that's from this period to this period. That's when that kind of drawing. So yeah.
Alphabet archaeologists.
Yes, yes. We are baby beginners in reading Greek passages. By the end of the 10 passages that we'll be looking at, you'll probably find more. You'll get to the point where you'll start instantly recognizing words. You don't even have to try sounding them out, because your brain will have translated them into words that you have been practicing. And you go, oh, I know that word, even though it's not an English word anymore. You have been Greekized to say. These are the letters that I promised I'd give you some words that used them. The letters are delta, eta, xi, xi, and s, ps sound. So words that use these are dia, even looks like dia, or d. Either one of those mean through, like via. It could be dea or day. It could be a soft I, but it's not a long I at all. It's not dia. It's dia, di. Here's a word that has an X at the end of it, sarx, S-A-R-X, sarx. And Patricia was saying earlier that this symbol looks really foreign, like maybe the Greeks adopted it from some other script. But they had an XS ending, and they needed to find a letter for it, and there you are. Okay. And then suki or suke, this is the PS sound, upsilon, chi or ki, which is your KH sound, and then your long E, suki. Suki or suke, if you've learned it in earlier classes. But three unusual letters. The only one that is common to us in the English language is the upsilon, this letter here. So I saved these for difference like sarx. The only letter that's common is the alpha. So you have a new letter for the S, a new letter for the R, a new letter for X, a new letter for PS, a new letter for KH, and a new letter for E. Okay. As I mentioned frequently, that the upsilon became the Latin Y, largely because that's what the capital letter of upsilon looks like. It looks like a Y. And so Kyrios became Kyrie in Latin. Sometimes it became the letter V, and that would be because of the lowercase look of upsilon. And so you have euangelion, and it became evangelism. Good, angelos, message, or message. Messenger would be angelos, but euangelion, a good message. Here's some key words that you'll need to know for this particular passage. I believe all of them are known to you already, but let's walk through them. Anthro, long O, pos, anthropos, human. Archae, from which we get archaeology. Now you know why I like preferring the E sound, because it makes it that way into English words, archaeology, archae, as opposed to archae. So archae it has different meanings. It could be first, it could be beginning, it could be the chief honcho. And we won't know until we see in context how we would translate it. Auto, low O, auto just means it. Autos, on the other hand, means he. So there's going to be some confusion between these two because this is a noun and this is a preposition. Pardon me, not a preposition.
Pronoun.
Thank you. I just had a brain freeze there. Did you see it? Did you see my brain fizzle right there? Okay.
Harry.
Yeah, so this is a personal pronoun and this is a noun. Ganao, yes, there are two N's in a row, so it tells you the syllable break is between them. Ganao means I generate, and we get the word genealogy from it, genealogia, and logia is word, of course, so words about your genes. Can also be, you can get generation out of it. So anything that has GEN in it is going to match right into English words that have GEN in it. Okay, two lookalikes. You'll have to watch out for this, this apostrophe. N by itself is a preposition, and it means, Patricia?
In.
In, yes. So if I put an apostrophe in it, it becomes
One.
one, yes. One of the few, there's going to be cases like that where the accent makes a difference in meaning. Ice, preposition means?
Into.
Two.
Right. And ice also means one. So a look-alike, and you just have to look at it in context. Does it mean one or does it mean into? You have to get the whole sentence out before you can figure it out. This letter is a zeta, makes a Z or a DZ sound. Z, z, Zoe, Zoe. So Zoe means the spark of life, not just mere bios. For instance, botany and plants have life, but it's more of just like they're breathing in carbon dioxide and emitting oxygen, or they're creating food, but they don't have the spark of life. So Zoe has that sense of spark of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also the name of a band, Zoe, or Zoe Girl or something like that. Okay, here's some more words, all in this passage. Oh, let me go back. We had N, now we have ain. So it's still a two-letter word, but this is a, or een, this is a verb that means was, and it's the past tense of este, which means, anyone remember? Is, very good. Kai, as I've mentioned many times, is the most common word in the Greek New Testament. Ain is the next most common word in the New Testament. Theos is God. Logos, word again. This is a new one. Oo, just O-U, means not. The tricky part is oo, if it's the end of a word, means of. So if you're reading an inscription where they jam all the letters together, this makes it difficult to figure out where to draw the spaces, and you have to know what's the letters prior to it. But oo, just by itself, means not. Fortunately, the Greek New Testament puts the spaces in for you. If I just said pan, P-A-N, that's good enough to say all. Panta also means all. Pantheon, all the gods. Pan America, all the Americas. So it's just, in its various forms, P-A-N or P-A-N-T-A means all. Peri, like periscope, peri means what?
Around.
Very good. Pros means?
Facing, in front of, or with.
Okay. What if I just wanted to be in the territory in front, but not actually facing? What would be the preposition for that?
Pro.
Just pro. Very good. Here's a new word for you. Scotia, S-K-O-T-I-A. So K-O-T-I-A looks like English. So this is the new letter for you, the S, the sigma. Scotia means darkness. There's not an English equivalent. You'll just have to memorize that Scotia means darkness or some form of dark. So you have darkness, and on the other end, you have light. And this is the PH sound, the phi or phi, PH, omega, long O, and then the closing sigma, which looks like our modern S. And we get the word phos. It produces the word photo or the word phosphorus in our English language, but it just means light. So a photon torpedo in Star Trek is a light torpedo. Okay, phos, or phos, pardon me, phos. So in theory, this should be phosphorus, but we pronounce it phosphorus. Well, those Americans, what are you going to do, right? So it's phos, it's a long O, and it means light. So these are words that are in John chapter 1 that you'll need to pull back to. So when we are looking at some words, you can flip back to this page as a cheat sheet. Heads up, this is a very common passage, John chapter 1. And as soon as we get into verse 1, you go, aha, I have an answer. I can answer those people who knock on my door and tell me what the Greek says. Well, we can address it a little bit, but you really need a grammar course to address it properly. This is what I talked about, where you have two singular subjects in the same sentence. So they're both OS ending words. That means that the definitive article is optional for one of them. So it says the word equals God, or God equals the word, and which one goes front in an English sentence? Well, the one that has the definitive article goes in front. So you would say the word was God.
What you just said is one of the most important things I ever learned. And I so appreciate you doing that. This is what every Christian at John 1:1 understands, because it is so very important.
You can't hang your hat on it until you've read the rest of John chapter 1. And then rest of John chapter 1 emphasizes what John 1:1 is saying. We had a person by the name of Arius in 250 AD who made it into a god, and so any theology that follows after Arius has him to blame, because he implied either that there are multiple gods or that there's some sort of hierarchy, that you got a big God and you have these lower emanations, and Jesus is one of those lower emanations. And it was all marked as heresy by Augustine, and also by Athanasius. So a lot of arguments were going by. We're not just talking about people knocking on your door in the 20th century, 21st century. This was a big to-do back in the 3rd century.
To me, this understanding of verse 1, John 1:1 is so crucial, because it's what we call grammatically a subject nominative. The Ada Nu can be translated was and is. They can be reversed.
Oh.
In the beginning was the Word. You could also say the Word was in the beginning, and God was the Word, and the Word was God. It's a grammatical construction that has meant so much to me over the years, and it's fabulous. I know you're probably going to say it, but anyway,
that's what I had said earlier on this slide under translation alert, is that when you have an equivalency statement like the word was or is, you can flip them around.
Exactly.
Because they're both subjects.
Both subjects.
They're both subjects, as opposed to one being an object. Hopefully you have taken this page and Xeroxed it so that you can get as wide as you can. There you go, like Patricia has, and I know Mara had done it as well. What you're going to be doing is taking a pencil and writing either before or above the lines as whatever is more comfortable to you. But this is going to be your turn to write on that piece of paper the English translation of these words.
There's a lot of marks in there that I don't know.
You mean accent marks?
Yeah.
Yep. So when we get to those, give a holler and we'll look at them. And I'm going to walk you through a 5-step process that will help you. I'm just going to zoom up the camera on the next slide to just a corner of this. I'll leave you the exercise of doing all the rest of the verses, but I wanted to just zoom up, and I'll just be cutting like this corner of it so I can get it big enough on the screen so you can see what I'm doing. So you may not be able to see it because I'm trying to put text under the lines. I think your handwriting, you'll be able to do it better than I'm doing it here on the slide. But step 1 is go for all the thes, of those, and the ands, the most common words that you'll find in the Greek New Testament. So just zip through there and say, oh, there's an and right there. So write the word and under the word kai. And you zip through and you say, are they another? Oh, there's another one right there. So you just get these out of the way right away. Now, you would not be doing this as an advanced student because you would have it already in your head, but I'm trying to show how you can get a head start of learning how to crack the code. Thus, so here is a breath mark, ho. So it's a masculine the. Here's another ho, the. Another ho, the. Another ho, the. Oh, look at that accent.
What's the dot before that? It looks like a period.
This one right here?
Below the C. Yes, right after the N.
That's a period.
That is a period.
That's a period. Oh. Here's another period. This A, B, and C, those are for footnotes at the bottom. So you can ignore those. Here's another, this is he. It's a feminine the. The apostrophe is the rough breathing mark. He is the word the. So already we have and the. Now let's go after the of those. There's not too many in this little section, but those would be all the TOUs. I don't have any in this section, but you'll probably see them off the screen on your piece of paper. This is where I said that you need your decoder ring for the definitive article, and you look up tone, T long O N, T-O-N, and it says of the many. So you just write of the many in there. T-O with this accent here, the backward Rav is kind of like toe. So it's like you're lowering your voice, but has no meaning as far as reading and writing. So you can ignore it, and it means the. So I think I've got all the ands and thes in this section. I'll leave it to you to go do all the rest of them. But step one is to just zip through there and take care of all of the simple things first. As you get better at this, everything will become simpler, and then you only have the words that need a dictionary, which is step 5. So step 2, I use a different color to show you what I'm doing. So you go after the very easy nouns or the easy stems. If you just see it part of it, if you see a whole noun, just go ahead and write it out. But if it's a stem, then you would put it, and then let's say it's a first part of a word, you would, let's say like archaeology, and you didn't know what ology meant, you would put first or beginning and then just an underline after it to say, I've got to look up the dictionary to find out what the rest of the word means. But here we go. It's a noun in its own right. Archi. I'm going to translate it as first or beginning. It could be chief. This accent means nothing. This accent means nothing. And this little, this is a little iota hanging under there. It's called an improper accent, and for all intents and purposes, you can ignore it. It still makes an E sound. It's still archy. But if this was engraved on and it had the accent marks, then you would know that this tells you I've got a start of a word. So this starts a word, so you got a word. Logos, you all know. This accent means nothing. This is called a reverse grav. It's a rising sound, so logos. Logos, let it be. So word. Here's another logos, word. Theos, God, lowercase because it's just the generic name for God. When you translate it into English, you might capitalize it, but right now we're just going for the straight word translation. Logos again, another word. Theon, another form of God. Theon, this on means it's an object as opposed to the subject of a sentence. So theos would be a subject. Theon is an object. It still means God. Panta, P-A-N, you go, that has something about all. Pan and Panta both mean all. Here is the rough breath mark for an, so we know it doesn't mean in. It's hen, which means
One.
one. Thank you. And you can ignore that accent. Zoe, here's life. You could say spark of life if you wanted to emphasize it, but just plain life will work. Phos is light. So I'm just pulling from the list in front of you. Now here, anthropone, this O, long O ending, as opposed to an OS. OS would tell you how many in number?
One.
One. Yep. Pone is many. So it's, and it also is genitive. So it's of many humans. Notice that the tone in front of it is of the many. So when we get to our wooden translation, we would read it of many humans. Well, of course, when we cut it into English, we'll just say of the many humans. But for our wooden translation, we're going word for word. Anthropone, of many, and then anthropo is the stem, humans, of the humans. Scotia, darkness from our list again. Scotia again, darkness. So already in this little segment of John 1, we're getting almost maybe 25% of the words, and we're just going for all the easy stuff. Step 3 is run through and find all your prepositions. So think of the lion, N. This is not an H sound. This is the accent you ignore. It's just simply EN. Yeah, someone.
I said that's not fair. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't.
So here's an EN and here's an EN. This one has the H sound. This one doesn't. So this would be the preposition of in.
Oh, the mark curls the other way.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes. And when you look at your Greek New Testament, you'll find them curling, both curls going. This is right out of the Greek New Testament. I just simply Xeroxed it and blew it up so you could see it. And after a while, your brain will ignore these because they really have no issue, because you're learning how to write it in English, not buy fish in Athens, as I like to say. So this one, this EN and this EN are just, the letters are the same, but this little accent up here is the rough breathing mark, is the H. So this is HEN. This is in, this is one. And I was glad to see an example in the New Testament where I could get them on the same page and show you. So N, let's see, here's de, like dia, so that's through. Here's another N, in. Step number 4, head for the easy verbs. As mentioned, was, ein, or een, is the second most popular word in the New Testament. This circumflex over the top is a neutral accent, and so it makes me wonder, why put it in at all if you're just saying it means I'm neither rising nor falling in my accent. It's like, so ignore it. Then the little curly Q going to the left, you can ignore. So it's just simply ida and nu, een, which means was. So here's a was, here's a was, here's another was. I need to introduce you to past tense. I may have hinted at it before, but here you'll get to see it in the actual scriptures. Geneo means I generate. But if you put an epsilon in front of it, or in front of any of your verbs, you have just made it past tense. So this is, so to help me, I put in parentheses the word past, and then generated is geneto. So so I can put the word ed for my English translation because I know it's past. So past generate, generated. There you go. Here it is again, the very same word, was again. So step one was the ands, thes, and of thes. Step two was all the easy nouns. Step three was all the prepositions. Step four is all the easy verbs. I'm going to go to step 5, the pesky pronouns. So, and the word not. So I'll do the pesky pronouns first. So ought to, we know this is genitive because it's an OU ending of something. And so you need to go to your decoder chart. So you need to have 2 charts in front of you. The definitive article, which are all the thes, and then the pesky pronouns, which are all the he, she, its, we, and they, and them, all of the singular and plural personal pronouns, to figure these out. Most novices do not have that decoder ring memorized. You would spend a long time working to memorize every one of those, but this one, so I'll just go to the decoder ring and it says of, it, or his. So it'll be context to tell you whether it's impersonal or a his. And then we have 2 places where there's a not. Oo, with some letters after it, is not something, and I'll have to explain that later. So if it's something I haven't seen before, I just draw a line underneath. So I said, I know the pesky pronouns and the nots. OU is definitely the word not, so I can put it there, and then I'll have to figure out what the day means. So uday is a separate word, but I'm trying to show you how to break it apart. And then here's an u down here, and it just means not. So you will see this frequently, especially when Jesus is talking about something and then not something else, and he's always doing these comparisons. So you'll see quite a few oohs throughout the text. So now, at this point, it's off to the dictionary. Let's see if there's any unusual words just in this corner segment. Utos. I'll have to go look that one up. Wonder what that one is. Let's see. Geganen. Spoiler alert. This behavior, you can imagine a syllable break here, get gone nem, is what I call stuttering. And this is called reduplicative. It becomes more obvious later on, but it's a variation of past tense. But truly, we haven't gotten to this word yet, so you have to leave it blank. Phanae, we haven't learned the word yet, so that would be a dictionary word. But otherwise, we've got a pretty good handle on this little corner of John chapter 1 just by going through the stuff that we have presented in the previous lessons, that I have presented in the previous lessons, and that you have been learning along with me. So if I was to read this just out loud, in first beginning was the Word, and the Word, blah, 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 and God was the Word, some word, was, blah, 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 God, all through of it, his past generated. And so it gets cumbersome. It doesn't look right. This is called a wooden translation. And we will get better at it. Here, this section, life was the light of many humans. Because the of the many and of many humans in English collapses into just simply of the many humans. All right, now what's the next thing? So here is the passage. Let's, Kent wanted to go through verse 1 in particular. So this is, let's see, Patricia, N.
In.
Maura, RT. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, old, beginning, first, or chief.
There you go. Jim, Ain or Een? Oh, you're muted, right?
Sorry, I fixed that, but I'm not following there. Sorry.
Okay.
Was?
Was, very
Was,
good.
yeah.
Was, okay. So I'll give you an easy one, Jim. Oh, the, okay. Who have I left out? Is there someone else visiting us here? Oh, Doug and Tony. Doug, how about Logos? You're muted.
Word.
Word, okay.
That
And
was an easy
Tony,
one.
yeah, and Tony, Kai, you get the easy one tonight.
And
And there you go. So we've already said the word. So the word was, and then Patricia, pros?
It's in front of or with. It can mean with. I looked it up.
It also could mean facing.
Yeah, facing.
Tone? Anyone?
Yeah.
The.
And theon? Anyone?
God?
God.
Okay, so in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was facing the God, and God was the Word. That's just straight one for one without flipping them around. But all these ains, wases, as long as you've got an OS on here, you're going to say, could it flip? In this case, it could flip. You could say, the Word was in the beginning. This one you can't flip because own is an object. So you know that it's going to be the Word was facing the God. Here you have an OS ending and an OS ending. So ain is the equivalence statement. And so you can flip them around. You could say the Word was God or God was the Word. When you translate it in English, because this has the definitive article, you would say the Word was God.
Thank you, Harry, for that. I got corrected. I learned something. Thank you.
All right. And there's an implied the in front of here, but it's not necessary in this kind of grammatical structure. For instance, up here, there's not a the in front of our key. There would be a he if it was, but it's not necessary. And so that's why you would say the Word was in the beginning, would be the proper way of doing it in English.
Okay, I'm confused by the period 2 words before verse 4.
This one.
I can't,
Yeah, that's an end of a sentence. That's a period.
yeah, well, I can't seem to get it to make sense, and then the 2 words after it flow into the next verse. I can't seem to wrap my head around making it sense.
So, and then this one, and the light was the darkness. Phanai is shines,
Fine.
Oh, that wrong too.
and the darkness, it, not.
Understand.
What does kata mean?
Received.
What? Say again?
I think, Harry, it means the darkness was not received or accepted.
No, what's just simply the preposition kata?
Uh-oh.
Heart?
It's
Wrong. Down.
down. Yeah. Laben is a word you haven't learned yet. So it has the sense of catching. So it's down catching. Think of a cat catching a mouse. And the darkness, it not down catch. So it couldn't catch the light.
Oh, yes, right. Sorry, my mistake.
Think of it like the little laser pointer that you do with your cat to tease them. And imagine the cat trying to pounce on it and never catching that little red dot. That's what this phrase means. And the darkness, it not down catch. Or you could say, and the darkness could not pounce on the light, or could not capture the light.
Right.
Didn't get it.
So this is a wooden translation. Now, how you would make it into an equivalent English metaphor, that's where the effort of translation and interpretation comes into play. But just the raw wooden version, the darkness, it not down catch, just to me, opened up this verse to me, because I just couldn't get the idea of a cat chasing a little laser red dot. and no matter how hard that cat tried to capture it, it could never catch that light. Yeah. So that's one of the fun things that we'll find. And we'll find lots of these sort of things. So new word for you was scotia, meaning dark. Kata, you knew. Lamban, you didn't know. So if you were to do that without me, you would say kata, meaning down. Draw a line underneath. Means you got to go look up in the dictionary, and you would find lamban, and then finish up the word. Egenato. So here is this E in front tells you it's past tense. Genato, generate. So you can just simply say generated. Anthropos, singular. So what would this word be if it was singular?
Man or human.
Yeah, right. And since there's not a definitive article in front, it would be a human. Apo means what?
On top of? Atheosis. Over.
Remove.
Remove. Oh.
Yeah, over would be, or upon would be epi, and over would be hooper. Apo is away from.
Okay, I was thinking of apex.
Yeah. So you may not know all the rest of this. This epsilon tells you it's a past tense. So you've got a preposition, you know it's a past tense word. Then you just have to go look up in the dictionary. The OS tells you it's a noun. I don't. So.
I got apostle for that.
That's got a. It just doesn't. Is that how it is in in the English?
Apostal.
Should be an O, an omicron, as opposed. This is an alpha. Para, you know, it's a preposition.
With?
With or?
Around.
No, that'd be peri.
Beside.
Beside. OU means of, so theo means?
Of God?
God.
Right. Besides of God, or alongside of God, or with of God. I know I covered this word, but might be not frequent enough. Do you remember what unama means?
That's name.
Very good. Auto,
Self?
and this is now a human's name. They capitalize it. It's a y sound, so like a German J, omega, n es, Ioannis, John. So this is the word for John. So this is saying there was a generated man. So when you put in English, you just drop off the generated. You just say, there was a man whose name was John. Okay. But if you're making your wooden, you'd say past tense generated man or human. And now that you know it's John, you know this is a human man. So you can just simply, in English, say man. But when you're making a wooden, you would say a generated human, whose name is John. Oh, now we know the generated human is a man.
A question.
Yes.
The word generated previously has referred to theos. Could this also refer to theos generating a man, John?
Just by the word alone, no.
Okay.
I believe that he generated John, yes. But from the word alone, that's the hazard of just doing a simple word study, is the words can be used in different ways. But in this case, it's just simply this word generated, this word generated. Both past tense with an E in front of this is a capital E. They're telling you it's the beginning of a sentence. But even if it was in lowercase, you would know that you're dealing with a new sentence with the os here. That comma is indeed a comma. So, but then you got this guy. Why is this period elevated? And this little iota here is trying to make an omega iota as a improper diphthong. You can ignore it. You can ignore the circumflex. You can ignore that. It's just simply A-U-T long O. You cannot, let's see. Yes, you can ignore this one. This one, here is an example. Previously, there was a question of, does the aspirated accent always mark the start of a word? And here's an example of a diphthong, O-U, oo, like soup. And the aspirated sound, the H, is sitting on the second letter of the diphthong. But this would still be houtos, H-O-U-T-O-S. But here's an example of it not being at the very beginning of the word. It's trying to treat this as a diphthong, so it puts it in the middle of both of them. Let's see. Ice means again?
Into.
Into.
And it could also be?
One.
One. So you'll have to wait until you get context down before you can figure it out. We have not covered this word. You will get to this word eventually. Martyrion.
Witness.
Yes. Spoil sport. That's what it is. It's from where we get the word martyr. M-A-R-T-Y-R. Martyr. Or testimony. We don't know this word yet. Hina. Martyr again. Peri.
Around.
Around. To means
Of the.
of the. Photos,
Light.
light. In this case, it's the noun, so it's a subject. We'll ignore that one. Pan, all. You won't know this ending, but you should recognize the first few letters. Piste, piste, piste,
Believe.
Believe. Yeah, that's what I got. Believe.
or trust,
They
or faith.
believe.
Faith. Yeah. Uh-huh. D,
Through.
through. Okay. To,
Him.
uh-huh, of him.
Okay.
Now here's an OU, which means what?
No or not.
And then they've got a K here. So you'll have to look in the dictionary. And and this means the word not, but just OU by itself also means not. So this is a not. Was, you don't know that word. Toe,
The
phos,
light.
which is very similar to photos, but here it is phos, just plain light. This word, I've covered it once, but only briefly. This is the word for but, al.
Okay, well, in the example you gave us, this sentence is not complete.
Correct.
Yeah. So I personally didn't do this sentence.
Okay.
I will.
It just, what you're doing is just practicing words right now.
Okay.
And then martyr again is another. So martyr, 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 all is testimony or witness. Peri, of course, means
Round.
round. Okay, so you'll get some of these. All I'm doing here is I'm not trying to give you the interpretation of the entire passage, but just showing by using the few simple tools you have at your possession, you can get most of these words done, and then you'd have to run over to the dictionary to find phenae, gegonen, that would be a dictionary word. Lamben, that would be a dictionary word. You at least know that the first one meant down. This is a dictionary word. Oh, that's the tail end of martyria.
Yeah.
Hina, you'll have to look, we'll get to there. We're not there yet. Ekainos, you don't know that word yet. So some dictionary words, and as we go through here, you'll find that they'll start popping off the page at you. Hopefully, Kai just screams at you every time you see it. It means and, it means and. And all the hoes mean the, you know, so after a while, you won't even bother writing the word the because your brain will already be translating it as the as you're racing through here. But I'm just trying to slow you down so you can break it apart and get stay in kindergarten. Then we'll get off to first grade next. Okay.
So Santa actually says the.
That's right. Yes. Okay.
Very good, Mara. Thank you.
I know I have a good class for sure. Yeah. So, but this whole passage, this one is Kent's favorite line, and this one is my favorite line. That the darkness can't catch that little red dot.
Exactly, Harry.
Okay, so now I'm going to go through the prepositions. This time, it's the very same diagram, but only using Greek letters. So, Kent, epiton? I should actually have you pronounce it. Go ahead, Grant.
Oh, I don't know, Harry. I'm stuck. Epi, I was thinking about something totally different. Upon the.
Yes, and so it's the way it's spelled here is it's the active word use of epi, means
Yes.
I'm coming upon something.
Right.
And Patricia, epi to
That would be on.
upon And so this two, TOU, gives you a clue that it's the resting. Yeah, so these two, epi just means upon, but the word the kind of gives you a clue as is it resting or active.
Okay, this is like German. Some of the prepositions can be either accusative or dative. So I'm assuming that some of these prepositions can also, it can be either depending on the context. But
Right.
here the lets you really know.
So this one is I'm upon of the something. So this is telling me I'm resting upon the
Okay.
something, and whatever the something is going to be the next word. Right. So yeah, and here it's more of an active, so it's not a OU ending, it's a ON ending. Let's see, Mara, go ahead and read this.
Going up the
Right, and go ahead and say it in
on a tone.
on a tone. Right. And who's next? Doug, read this up here.
Yeah. That looks Greek to me.
Yeah. What's missing, Doug, is the little H sound in front. So just kind of sound it out. That's an
Actually, I've been thrown off on how the pi symbol is pronounced, and my brain isn't around that one symbol.
Oh, okay. So it is a p sound.
Hi.
A P.
Because my brain keeps seeing pi, and
Yeah.
that's not how it's pronounced.
But it is, yeah. It's the p part of pi, right? It is indeed called the pi symbol. Just like this is the alpha symbol. So it's
Well, yeah, it's actually difficult when you know symbols from something else and you bring that into this and you don't recognize everything else.
Like your mathematical symbols are coming to play. Yes, yes.
Well,
Yes.
so your mind recognizes.
Doug's a math guy.
Yeah. Go ahead, Doug. Keep talking.
Oh no, I was finished, but no, that's what's actually the most jarring to me is the symbols that I do recognize.
Right. So now that you know there's a P, do you remember what that letter is?
No.
Anyone else?
Rho.
Rho. So this is the R sound. So there's a missing H sound. So H-U-P-E-R. Hooper or hyper, which means
Over.
or above. And this TOU tells you it's stationary. You're hovering like a helicopter. Hooper and then you have the very next word will tell you what you're hovering over on. So you're hovering over the lion. TOU looks like modern Latin letters TOU, but this one has got a pi, which is a P sound, and what looks like a P is really an R sound. So the alphabet is going to be hopefully you'll start picking up on these new letters. This is the new Anna tone. Let's see. Who did I leave off next? Better Kit, can you pronounce this?
Which one? Okay.
Both of them together.
Kata.
And the second word, two, kata two. And you had the easy one because it looks just like it is if you spelled it with the English alphabet. K-A-T-A-T-O-U. And what does kata mean? Big hint.
Down.
Down, right. It can also mean according to. So I got this story down from Mark. But kata to down or down from. Here is that pesky pi again, Doug. So who did I leave off? Mara, go ahead and do this one.
Apple 2, away from.
Away from. So you'll know what you're away from because it's going to be the very next letter. So this would be Leo. For Leon is the lion, but Leo is also lion, so it's away from the lion. Away from of lion. So away from. What, did I leave anything out? Oh, this one, Kent.
Was that me?
That's you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Upo, under.
Yeah, there's a missing breath mark there, Upo. And how would you say that one?
I would just say the.
But how would he's already translating it. Yes. So this is toe, long O, that's the long omega. So
Right.
Jesus is the Alpha and the Omega, which means the beginning of the alphabet and the end of the alphabet.
Yes.
He is the A to Z in our life. So this is the long O sound, toe, hupa, toe. So this is a soft O, this is a long O.
Right.
And then we've done pros before. And then here, both means are in front of, or pardon me, facing. I'm facing the lion, but the carries the sense of I'm actively doing it, just like this epiton. And then prosto means I've come to a stop sign. I'm standing still, facing the lion. Will you remember all of this? Probably
No.
not. Probably not. That's why I gave you this picture so you can kind of help you when you look at it and say, well, what kind of facing is it? The word is facing God. Is it a toe or a ton? You know, is it, you know, what is it? You know, is he nose to nose already, or is he coming up onto the lion?
So it means coming toward, like?
Yes, that's this, the tone, pros tone. The pros toe is more like a stop sign. I have arrived. I'm nose to nose right at this moment.
That's where you put a octagon there.
Yep. Just weird things with prepositions is the word the throws you slightly off. Okay. More prepositions. Tony, you got this one.
Parrot.
Ton.
Hold on.
Yep.
Ton. Paraton.
Yeah, that you can think of this new as if it's got a little hidden stem to make it look like an N. Pat noticed that right now it looks like a V, but if you in your mind put another bar there, it looks like a capital N. If that'll help you in getting the new as an N. So ton. And peri means what, Tony?
I'm not exactly sure.
Follow this line here.
Above?
No, this is this is like from sky looking around it. So this is around, like periscope. You're going around, peri, around. Perimeter of a circle, peri. Made it into English. Okay, so you're right. This particular picture is as if I'm on top looking down, and I didn't make that clear. So this one, who's into, yeah, but say it in Greek.
Eistone.
Eistone. Okay. Next one.
In the. Ento.
Ento.
Ento, yeah.
And I'm going to give this one to Mara.
Esto, out of.
Yeah. How would you pronounce the two different versions? This one is a kappa, which is just simply ek.
Ek or eh.
X. Yeah, it's EXS is how you would pronounce it.
Oh, okay.
X.
Exto.
So this double curly Q is the XI sound. But when it's at the end, it's like an X at the end of fox or sarks, X. So this is ek, X. They both mean out.
Right.
Two different ways of spelling the word out.
So they're not different flavors of out?
Not that I can tell. You have to realize that Greek has had numerous hundreds of years to develop. And so where did this get started? I don't know. I have no idea where it came from.
Say Sanskrit, you'll always be right.
There we go. So, and then 2 is of the, here's the word for with or along, can also mean alongside, but with, I'm going with, usually kind of like I'm traveling along with you. I'm not statically with you, I'm going with you. Let's go to the store. I'll go with you to the store is the kind of the sense of meta. What's another word for with? Greek word.
Right.
Soon.
Soon.
Oh.
And that's more of a static with.
Yeah.
But they both, if you're just making a wooden translation, you would just say with. But there is a sense in the language that meta has the things that I'm currently walking alongside with you. It's almost got the same sense of para, like parallel. But this is like we're hand in hand going somewhere. Meta too. Okay, I think I covered all of these. By the way, the lion and all of these word combinations came from a 1968 book called Teach Yourself Greek. Chapter 22. Why did they wait so long before they introduced prepositions? I have no idea. To me, prepositions needs to be the first thing you learn. They waited until chapter 22. So it's like, nope, I'm going to bring it right front. I'm going to make it part of an introductory class.
Maybe all the previous chapters covered only one letter.
No, I've looked at the book and it's very complicated. And it's like, give me something that I can sink my teeth in. And then I got to chapter 22. I'm going, this is the easy stuff. Why'd you save it to way back here? So Perry, around, meta, with, ek, out, in, even sounds like ice, into.